Hello world, hello YouTube, hello everybody. This is Prepper Princess, and this video is going to be about sizing up your neighbors for an economic collapse, or SHTF. This is not about sizing up your neighbors in order to steal from them. This is something where if there's any prepper out there worth worth their salt, there is a moral capacity that we all have, and I think that we all want the world to be a better place after the collapse. And gosh, it's such a detailed thing. So when it comes to your neighbors, what you want to do is just be really vigilant and size them up. And it's not sizing them up to steal from them. It's sizing them up to know who you're going to have to worry about. As a personal example, I live in a court, and I've been here pretty much my whole life, so I'm very familiar with all of my neighbors. We do have a Mormon family living in the court, and I know that not to steal from them. I would never steal from anyone, whether I'm starving or not. But, you know, any food preparations that they have, they earned that, and that is theirs. That's, I'm sure that they have guns too, so I wouldn't go after them anyway. But it is something where I know, just to keep in my file cabinet, that I don't have to worry about them coming after me. There's also another family that lives near me there's a police officer, and he's somebody that I would go to for security, you know, working, maybe patrolling the court, keeping things safe. I do have, one of the things that I need to look out for is a couple of neighbors. I do have some neighbors on one side of the fence. They have a swimming pool. They also have boats and big redneck trucks. When I say redneck trucks, I'm talking about like Confederate flags and, you know, NRA stickers and things that say, you know, zombie apocalypse, I'm your man type thing, which obviously, just based on what I know from them, they would be completely unprepared. They seem like they're prepared, and they have a lot of talk, but they don't walk the walk. They're probably one of my neighbors who would end up bugging out trying to live off the land, which is never really a good idea. And I would pretty much just take their resources, which would be the swimming pool that they have in their backyard. Another one of my neighbors, or I should say two of my neighbors, are a problem. And they're not necessarily a problem because they're a physical threat. They like to talk, and that's the problem. I have one neighbor, one male and one female. One lives across the street, one lives right next door. And I do not trust them with any sort of secret that I had. I do recall one point, she's an old lady, and she's very trusting, and she's also very inappropriate when she asks personal questions. And the problem is that she shares that information with the rest of the neighborhood. I have a neighbor a few doors down where she had literally just told me he's gone every week between Tuesday and Saturday. He works in Los Angeles, so in my mind it was just like, oh, okay, so now I know when to rob the guy, you know. She didn't seem to care much about giving me that sort of information. It was just like, oh, whatever, he's never here, you know, he's gone, you know, Tuesday through Sunday, you know, anybody could get into his house. I think she even said that. With my other next door neighbor, he is a gossip queen. He will tell you anything and everything about a family, a person living inside of the court, you know, how much they make for a living, what the inside of their house looks like, what sort of projects they're working on in their front yard, backyard, in their garage. And that's none of my business. And I honestly don't understand why he would want to share that sort of thing for me. While I do make these videos and I seem like a very eloquently speaking person, I know that one of my pitfalls in an economic collapse is the fact that I am not social. It may seem like I'm social in my videos, but to be honest with you, I just have a resting bitch face all the time. I never smile, and I honestly have a don't F with me look to me. I almost look like a off-duty police officer that doesn't want to be messed with, and I have no problem with that, but because of my trustworthiness, people feel that they should be able to share information with me, and they can, because I don't share the information that I'm given. However, I do feel that it's very strange that that information is shared with me in the first place. I do have one of the things that you want to keep in mind when thinking about your neighbors is think of, okay, who has, livestock? Not necessarily livestock, but I have chickens. I know my neighbors know that I have chickens. And if there were ever an economic collapse, I know that they would not be safe outside. I would have to bring them inside or into the garage, which is not a sanitary condition, but it would keep them from getting stolen because I know that's what would happen. And then on another side of me, I have I have to say that I live in a very rich and fancy neighborhood. Those people who do not prepare and they go out for manicures and pedicures and go golfing for the weekends as opposed to saving up food storage or anything where there might be some sort of problem, and they don't think more than 2 days ahead of time, I can tell you that. And you want to know what sort of neighbors you have. Who can you trade seeds with? Who has a garden? Who do you think would have firearms where you would be able to trade maybe bullets with them? And I'm just talking about neighbors. I'm not talking about, bartering with strangers downtown. I'm talking about people that you know. Who has fruit trees? If you have a couple of apple trees and they have a couple of kumquats, can you trade with them? Who has carpentry skills? If something were to go wrong with the plumbing or lighting in your home, who could you call on and maybe trade something with them in order to come fix your whatever's wrong? You could trade some food with them. Who has solar power? Not necessarily to steal the solar power, because a lot of people don't even understand that you need inverters and backup batteries in order to make solar work. They just think that if they steal the panels, it'll automatically plug in and somehow work, and that's just not the way that solar works. But who has solar panels, which would make them a target where you can trade with them security in exchange for something else? Who has water on their property? Who has extra rooms. So if they want to bring in family members but they don't have the space, maybe you can give a spare room to one of their relatives and they can trade something for that. It's not just about physical things. It's about, taking care of family, building community. And again, I know that I don't have the social skills, but I do know that my significant other does. So she would be the one doing all of the talking, while I would be the one doing all the work. That's just the way it works. That's the way our relationship works, and it works for me. So it's so just think about your neighbors, size up your neighbors, think of what different things. Maybe you can have some sort of, block barbecue and just invite everybody over to have, some free chicken and get to know your neighbors. It's something that's really important, building community after a collapse. So if any of you have any comments, keep it positive, keep it a learning experience. Don't make negative comments. They're just going to be deleted. So again, that's one thing that you want to think about is, what can you trade with your neighbors? What are your neighbors worth? What neighbors do you have to worry about? So that's it. Live by your wits, not by your worries. Peace.